Gill net fishing is quite a skill that's been passed on from generation to generation.
Gill net fishing is so important in our community. As you know, that trapping and hunting was a main source of income for most communities, Nelson House included. And it's a lost trade that is that we're hoping to keep the knowledge and revive it within our students too, so that knowledge is not lost and that those trades are learned by kids and for the future generations.
It is important to preserve the traditional Cree way of gill net fishing because most people don't know how, and it's becoming a dying art like everything else. The language, the handicrafts we see back here, we here have been delivering those kinds of teachings to the children. And for me, gill net fishing is an awesome way to feed your family, to feed the elders who cannot do that.
We set a net in Nisichawayasihk, and the reason why we like setting in Nisichawayasihk is that there's good quality fish there. In Nisichawayasihk, there are a lot of rocks around the shoreline, so there's less debris going into the lake, so the fish are better quality and healthier.
Darrell has been a part of my life for forever, and my grandfather, he couldn't teach me this kind of stuff as much as I wanted him to because he was unable to, but Darrell has been that man. He has taught me everything that I wanted to know, everything that I do know about my culture, about land, everything like that. He has taught me.
Catch fish. Okay. Beautiful day for it.
And he's a huge part of my life. And not only me, the grandpas, the rest of the grandpas, and the kids. The kids love him. And he's just a great guy to work with. And he is so patient with the children and so patient with me. I'm still learning. And he does a really great job with everyone here.
We're going to start from where we left off yesterday. That's where we're going to go. That's where we're going to tie up our net with our string. And I'll show you when we get there. So first-hand visual is always important. So when we get there, you just listen when I tell you something you'll never forget. It's always cool to learn things.
My brother Darrell is just an awesome teacher, and it took me a long time to recruit him. I needed somebody who has such a tremendous knowledge in the Cree way of life.
Morley is a pest, but God love him. He is the boss around here. He gets everything done. You need something, you ask Morley, and Morley gets it done in a second. He is a great person to work with. The kids love him. They adore him. And he adores the kids. And he's just so much fun to work with. And he never is afraid to share or teach. Or if you have questions, he will answer them.
It's about establishing a net underneath the ice. You use a jigger to start off. You chisel a hole from A is what you start off with, a hole. All right, now that we got the hole, now we're going to put the jigger in, and I'm going to face it that way, and you're going to follow it. It's going to make a clicking sound. You're going to follow the clicking sound, and when I wave at you when we're into the line, when we run out of line, that means we're going to chisel a hole over there and pull the jigger out when we'll get to that yet, but we're going to put it in right now. We're going to follow the jigger as we go. It's like an art motion when you put your jigger underneath. It has a forward motion every time you pull it. When you pull this, the jigger goes forward.
There's a claw there, Justin?
There's a claw on the stick there, it floats, okay. And the metal part goes forward, and it catches on that stick because it got a little sharp pitch on it. It grabs it there. When you pull it, that means the metal goes forward and pushes it forward. When you do that, you get further and further. It's like an art motion. You give a little pull and let go. And when you get to the other end, people that follow the jigger, it's very important they follow the jigger for sound, like that has a knocking.
Here's this click, 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 and once that 100-yard sideline is at its end, then you scrape the snow off the ice.
You can see the color of the jigger when the ice is clear. If not, it'd be the knocking sound of the jigger. And when they wave their hands, saying that they indicated that jigger, they start chopping a hole through the ice. See, that was the hard part, finding a jigger. When the ice is this thick, it echoes all over, eh? That's why it's important to follow it really close, eh? When you pull the string, you just follow it, eh? Pull the jigger out. Then the process of the line going, the jigger is pulling a line from one end to the other end. It pulls it out, then you pull your jigger on the other end, tie the net on the other end, then you pull the net all the way to the other end. Let the young ones pull it, eh? Take your time when you're pulling, it's not a competition.
Don't go fast.
Don't go fast. Take your time. If you go fast, the net will twirl underneath, and it won't catch anything. Very important, you just don't pull it very hard, eh?
Get the rope and start pulling it, because on the other end, it's tied to the net. And you start pulling the rope and the net goes underneath until you come to the end part.
And it's always important when you get to both ends, you start off with one end, you get a stick where you tie up your rope, you tie your net to an anchor called a rock. Now we're going to get some rope. We're going to tie it right beside. Now we're anchoring the net all the way to the bottom. This way the net doesn't freeze against the ice, it goes right to the bottom because we got an anchor on it. And that's the depth of it, finally got the bottom of it. The reason we're anchoring it there, it's already anchored. Safety wise, you put that there. Now we tie our net to the stick here on the side. Then you tie your stick on one end and you do the same thing on the other end. Then that's when you complete your setting of your gill net. Our rock is right in the bottom of the lake. This way we can, when we check our net, we just pull the rock up. So we do the same process on the other end and we'll be done setting a net.
The gill net's about 4 feet. 4 feet in height. So you need that 4 feet in height for the fish when they swim by and they get caught.
The rope they're pulling is what's pulling the net underneath. And it's going to stretch out itself underneath the ice. And when that happens, when we're out of net, we're going to tie up that comes in the end. But the net is going underneath, but it'll spread itself. And we're setting a net already. So we'll always be eating fresh pickerel.
I didn't realize how much work it was, because the last time I did it, I was very young. Like chiseling and shoveling and chiseling and shoveling. I didn't realize how hard that was, and I didn't realize how quiet you had to be able to hear the jigger.
A jigger is a wooden device that it's flat, it's laid out flat, and it's about 1.5 inches thick by maybe 6 inches wide, and it's got a center hole maybe about 2 inches by 3 feet sometimes, depends how big your jigger is. The jigger is the most important tool, and the people following it from the knocking of the jigger, or they can see it in clear ice. It'll be a bright color of a jigger. It's very easy to visual. At one time they made their own jiggers, where there's quite a skill and things that were taught how to make jiggers. It was rope and rock and maybe a sharp bone at one time, and it was developed quite a long time ago.
A nylon rope where it's braided and it's very strong, and that's one of the fundamental tools of gill net fishing.
There you go, jigger's gone, guys. Start walking slowly, you can hear it.
It's nylon, so it'll go smoother on the ice. As you know that there's a hole there, and the rope has to go there. And any other type of rope, it'll fray. Nylon rope doesn't do that. Okay, the sideline is there because you need that extra length for the anchor so that the net will go down a little bit. If you don't, then it'll freeze on top of the ice, and you've lost the net.
There's different size nets. Sometimes they're wider by 20 feet, 10 feet, or 5 feet. Depends what size net you want to use for the size of the lake where you're putting it into, the depth of the lake.
You gotta get the net ready. Well, we get the, just keep putting it over there. Untangling it, eh? You're untangling the net is what you're doing.
But at one time they used to make gill nets out of, with a device with their own hooks and twine, and it was a skill that was developed, and I got the privilege to see it. You need a chisel, a shovel, very important tools, an axe to get the job done when you're out there. You always need those tools. And a filleting knife and a fish knife, different size knives, tools you need to fix your fish. You need proper clothing when you're going out to the site of setting a net. It could be a half-hour ride, maybe more, sometimes less, but it's always cold on a snowmobile.
Always pack an extra jacket, always pack extra dry clothes because you're going to be sweating out there. It's a lot of work. I didn't realize how much work that was.
Your fur hat, your mitts, always carry spare stuff, spare jacket, just so that you're very comfortable on your travel back home. The chisel that they use for chiseling through the ice is a very sharp object. Do not make a mistake to hit your feet. Keep it at firm grip. Always watch what you're doing. Watch how you set it on a side when you take the ice out.
Sometimes the thing shoots out, it'll break your jaw, eh? Yeah. You're really careful.
When you pull that jigger, sometimes that jigger will come flying straight up because it's wood, made out of wood. It'll pop up and submerge real fast, and maybe it'll hit you in a jaw or something, get hurt real bad. Not make holes too big for them to fall in or slip into the hole. So there's always safety factors, always reminders of little things. It could be a small thing, but it's always important to tell them the little factors of the safety of what they're doing in their surroundings. It's very important that you always tell somebody where you're going and never change your plans. If you tell somebody at home you're going here, so they're very aware in case you break down for your own safety, and you just wait there because there'll be somebody coming looking for you. If you never change your plans when you set your plans with somebody at home for safety reasons, so they don't go all over the place looking for you. It's always communication all the time, everything you do. Cold weather, slush, storm, always know the weather conditions, respect nature. Nature can turn on you. Nature is the boss. We're always taught that. Nature is the boss.
I can't wait to pull the net out. I hope there's a lot of fish. It's gonna be cold, so I hope the boys dress up warm and have some good mitts, because our mitts are gonna get wet with all the slimy fish. And yeah, I'm looking forward to help the boys and help Darrell and help Morley to fillet the fish and have a nice fish fry.
Where we put the net in from, we're gonna start off backwards, right from B. We're gonna chisel the hole safely and take the ice out.
That's why it's always important though, not to walk around here real fast, even if it's frozen overnight, you could fall in there. Always use safety precaution when you approach holes like that.
We're gonna get a stick with a hook, retrieve the line that we use an anchor in, pull it up, retrieve the rock all the way from the bottom. The rope we used to take the jigger to A to B the rope underneath the ice. Then we put the rope on top of the ice from one end to the other end. Then we tie up from the B side on a net and release the anchor. Then they pull the net and the rope goes underneath the ice again so we can reset it if we have to. So on the other end, on the A side, the kids will be pulling the net out of there and they'd be taking fish off.
And we're going to go to the other end and start off there. And we're going to pull the net out from that other end. This is B, and we're going to pull the net out from A, where we started, eh? Good exercise. There we go. Not a problem, we got it. We're going to untie the anchor. Okay, keep pulling. Keep pulling, Billy. Start piling it on the side, Robert, like this. The rewards are there. When we catch all these fish, we're going to have a real good fish fry. A little bit of hard work pays off because everybody's going to have a share of fish to take home, and we're going to have some fry. Pickerel fry. It's going to be good.
Learned how different types of fishes, how they look, and how to tell them apart, and all that kind of fun stuff.
What they teach me is going to stay with me for a really long time. I won't mind doing this when I'm much older.
I love eating jackfish. Yeah, that's my favorite food. A lot of people like eating pickerel, but that's my favorite.
After harvesting the fish and checking the net and resetting the net, it's always important you put them in a tub and...
That's a beautiful pickerel.
It is. It's nice and juicy.
Awesome.
Good work, guys.
Awesome. Good work.
Before you travel home, they'll always stay fresh and thawed out. You put snow on top of them and dressing all the fish. And that's the key thing, is the dressing fish. I learned how to dress fish at a young age, maybe about 6 years old. I know how to dress every fish species. Make sure there's no bones there. Make sure everybody enjoys their fish without choking on a bone. And it's very important. I can smoke fish, fillet fish, every species of fish. I can fix them any way I want. I'm very good at it. These are the center bones of the spinal of the fish, and we don't want to choke on them, so we cut them out too. And this is what you get a fillet. I was taught how to fix fish, no matter what kind of fish it is. It could be jackfish, pickerel, burbot, tulipy, or whitefish. There's different species, perch. We eat them all. Sometimes I play a trick on them. What kind of fish is that? They wouldn't know. And they usually have a good little laughter and said, well, you were wrong. I got you. You thought it was a pickerel. It was a jackfish. It was a whitefish. It could be a tulipy. And some of my friends, their favorite is a burbot. They call it a poor man's lobster. Mariah, they call it in Cree, eh? But it's called a burbot. But you know, that's what they call a freshwater lobster.
The bounty that we catch, we always offer it to the elders as a sign, as saying thank you to the Creator.
Fish is part of my diet, my grandfather's diet, my dad's diet, my granny's diet. It's a real good diet for fish. It's really healthy for you. And like I said, you can't eat meat all the time. You got to eat fish. Meat gets scarce. There's always a net, and go gill netting in the lake. You always have food.
A lot of foods are processed, and in Native communities like Nelson House, there's a lot of diabetes and a lot of health complications because of this type of food. So getting back to the land with this land-based education, that we can provide that, and to teach the children, our youth, they can do that as well and hopefully pass it on.
These ones we're going to leave here for the wolves. So maybe we'll have a chance to see some wolves when we come back. We're going to leave some that are having a hard time.
It was a lot of fun. It was very exciting. And it was nice seeing all the kids out and really getting involved and helping take the fish out of the net, and it was really nice. I really, really enjoyed myself.
Watch and learn. And it's always that, watch and learn. And so the next time you come, you do the same thing, not the same mistake, mind you, but you do it better the next time until it's perfected.
Numerous people that taught me would be my grandfathers, my father, my uncles. It was always a teaching.
Every parent should teach their children how to set gill net. They'll never be hungry at home. They'll feed everybody. That food there probably feed at least 50 people easily.
Thunder, when you're done, can you come get
It's
this one out?
awesome.
It's
It'll be a good fry.
Somebody would teach you, and they'll keep teaching you till you understand the concept of setting a net out in the lake in the winter times.
I like doing this kind of stuff when I come out here. Ice fishing, or people back then did it. And it's best for people such as me to do this, so we can teach other people our age, you know.
For safety reasons, so you don't fall in. You always had somebody with higher guidance around you all the time, not just one person, your grandfather, your uncle. There's always somebody there a little older that has more experience to teach you the knowledge.
Whoever does this in your family, say, maybe you should take me out one day. I want to learn. And that's what you're supposed to be learning.
Now we did a little insertion cut. Now we're just going to use our knife or tool, right? And just going to grab the bones. Just go like that, rip them out. The youth usually watch me fillet the fish and learn how I do things. It's best to show them by visual first before they get hands-on. This way they have a better understanding of when they're fixing fish, that these tools are very sharp. For that reason, they understand safety precautions of the knife and when you're filleting fish. Some people like to wiggle it all the way. I like to do little cuts like that on the side, all the way to the tip, all the way to the point here on this side, see? And when you do that, and then you give it a little wiggle on the other side, then you get a nice fillet. And there, it's not over. There are still bones here. I always feed people pickerel, and I like to make sure there's no bones in it. I do a little cut here on the top of the line there. I'll run up to there, right up to about there. And you do the same thing on the other side of that fish, the fillet. Then you get the skeleton here. These are bones. And nobody wants to eat bones. We want to eat a fillet. Then you get a beautiful fillet like this. There's no bones in that. If there's bones in there, you can give me a licking with a willow. Pass that knowledge back to the community. It don't belong to you. That's how what my grandfather and my grandmother taught me.
I plan on passing it on because, you know, we don't want to lose this. We got to keep it in our blood for who we are as natives, you know. We got to pass it on from generation to generation, from just generation to the next.
Watching those kids, those students out there was just, wow. The eagerness for them to learn, I saw it in their eyes and the way they were observing, getting ready to tackle on any instruction that they were given.
It's something that they need to learn. I feel like everyone in our community should know how to do this. And not only people who are from our community, but visitors, everyone. It's great to have, it's a great skill to have. And if something ever happens, you know what to do, you can live. And it's really, really cool. And you can not only feed yourself, your family, but you can feed your community.
In our tradition and teachings in our culture, you know, patience is the utmost, respecting one another, and being able to honor what it is that you do.
I did learn a lot about patience and how you can't rush things. And it wasn't only like a lesson to learn in school and everything, but it was also a life lesson.
We always make it a point to teach in English and in Cree.
Hey, what's that? Right on.
At the same time, so that the Cree language is always there as well, even if it's just one word.
There you go, Thunder. Take your time. See how I did that? Anyway.
Feel healthy today because I'm very happy. Sharing the knowledge with the kids is an overwhelming feeling for me.
When we get back, we're going to make some more of these, Bailey. Okay. These hooks. It's always nice to everybody to have one of their own, eh?
Especially when we have a good catch, everybody's happy, everybody's safe.
And I tell you, when you go feed people fish like this, fresh pickerel, they'll love you.
I will teach my children, I will teach my grandchildren, I'll teach my students. And they should be proud that they have an opportunity to learn this kind of stuff, and we have people in our community who are willing to go out of their way to go out there and teach these kids how to do it.
I hope that land-based education becomes a major component in any school.
Right on, my boy. See that tool? You're going to make some more of those tools. They're your best friends. See that? How easy that was?
I'd like to come out here again with you guys. You know, you guys are nice. You're good teachers. I like doing what you do.
I couldn't thank Darrell and Morley enough for everything that they do for not only our students, but myself and the other teachers. I think they should just keep doing what they're doing. They're doing an amazing job.
Share your knowledge, no matter what it is. We can all learn together.